Hello, AI enthusiasts, and welcome to AI for the People, where we explore the ethical frontiers of AI. Today, we're going deep on AI debates. We'll be tackling some of the hottest discussions around this powerful technology.
You know what's fascinating about these debates is that they're not just about bits and bytes. They really force us to confront some fundamental questions about fairness, privacy, security, and even the very nature of humanity.
Exactly, like we've got some seriously thought-provoking sources lined up today. From stories about AI bias in hiring, to the potential of AI to reshape the future of work, and even the looming question of whether we're on the path to creating machines that are smarter than us.
And these aren't just abstract hypotheticals. These debates have very real implications,
Yeah.
impacting everything from how we design algorithms to the laws we create to govern AI.
Okay, let's kick things off with a story that made headlines a few years back. Amazon's attempt to use AI for recruitment.
Oh yeah, the AI hiring tool that ended up getting scrapped because it exhibited gender bias. But it's important to remember that the bias didn't come from some malicious intent. The AI was simply mirroring the gender imbalances that were already present in the tech industry data it was trained on.
So it's kind of like holding up a mirror to our own biases. And the reflection isn't always pretty. This raises a big question. How do we develop AI systems that are actually fair and unbiased, especially when the data we feed them is often a product of our own flawed human systems?
It's a challenge that researchers are actively working on. Some are focusing on techniques to debias data sets, while others are exploring ways to build algorithms that are more transparent and accountable so we can understand how they reach their decisions.
It's almost as if we're trying to teach AI to be better than us, to overcome the biases that we as humans often struggle with. And speaking of biases and potential pitfalls, let's move to another heated debate. The tension between surveillance and security in the age of AI.
This is where things get really interesting. We have technologies like facial recognition, which can be powerful tools for law enforcement to, track down criminals or find missing persons.
But on the other hand, they raise serious concerns about privacy and the possibility of being misused.
Exactly. Look at Clearview AI, a company that basically scraped billions of photos from social media to build a massive facial recognition database. And while they argue that it's a valuable tool for law enforcement, it's faced bans in several European countries over privacy violations.
It's like a classic example of the trade-offs we face in this AI age.
Yeah.
Should security concerns always trump individual privacy? Where do we even begin to draw the line?
And it's not just about individual privacy either. There's also the potential for these technologies to be used for mass surveillance, like we see with China's social credit system.
Yeah, social credit systems. It's like something straight out of a dystopian sci-fi novel. Imagine an algorithm constantly watching your every move, awarding points for quote-unquote good actions and deducting them for bad ones. It's a pretty chilling example of how AI can be used to control and manipulate people.
This brings up another important question. How do we balance the need for security with our basic right to privacy, especially as these AI-powered surveillance technologies get more and more sophisticated?
It's a question that we as a society really need to grapple with. And it's one that lawmakers and policymakers are actively wrestling with as they try to come up with regulations for AI. But before we get too deep into regulations, let's switch gears to a topic that sparks both excitement and fear. Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI.
AGI is like the ultimate role of AI research. It's the quest to create machines with human-level intelligence or even beyond.
So are we talking about robots that can think, feel, and make decisions just like us? Are we on the verge of creating a new form of intelligent life?
There are a lot of opinions on this. Yann, LeCun, who's a leading AI researcher, believes that AGI is still a long way off. He argues that we haven't even scratched the surface of how human intelligence really works.
But then you have people like Elon Musk, who paint a much darker picture, warning that AGI could be a threat to humanity, becoming so intelligent that it could make us obsolete, or even see us as a threat to its own existence.
It's a debate that's as much philosophical as it is technical. Are we just creating more powerful tools? Or are we on a path to creating a new species that could challenge us?
It's a question that has huge implications for our future. If we do achieve AGI, how do we make sure these super intelligent machines align with our values and goals? How do we prevent a scenario where they become uncontrollable and turn against us?
Those are exactly the questions that drive the debate around AI ethics. And they're not just theoretical either. They're shaping how we approach AI research development and regulation.
Speaking of regulation, the battle lines are being drawn as we speak, with different regions taking very different approaches.
Absolutely. The European Union, with its proposed AI Act, is pushing for a more cautious and regulated approach, prioritizing ethics and human oversight,
While Silicon Valley, known for its move fast and break things mentality, argues that too much regulation could stifle innovation and slow down the development of potentially beneficial AI applications.
It's a classic clash between precaution and progress. Do we prioritize safety and ethics even if it means slowing down development? Or do we take a more hands-off approach and let innovation flourish, even if it means accepting some level of risk?
It's a global dilemma with no easy answers. And it really highlights the fact that the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something we're actively shaping through the choices we make today.
And its future we'll explore in more depth as we continue our deep dive into AI debates. We'll be tackling things like the potential for AI to change the future of work, the ethical implications of autonomous weapons, and even the question of whether AI can truly be creative. And while we're thinking about those big questions, let's focus on a more immediate and maybe even more unsettling use of AI, autonomous weapons.
You mean like those killer robots we see in sci-fi movies, the ones that make like life or death decisions without a human involved? That's scary stuff.
It might sound like science fiction, but the truth is, autonomous weapons systems are being developed and used right now, and this is causing a lot of debate at the UN and among people who study ethics.
I remember that Slaughterbots video that went viral a while back. It showed all these tiny drones using facial recognition to target and kill people. It felt like a peek into a really scary future.
That video was definitely a wake-up call. It was meant to show what could happen if we don't control AI development for the military. It got people talking about needing international agreements to ban, or at least really regulate these lethal autonomous weapon systems.
But some people say autonomous weapons could actually make war less destructive. The idea is that machines don't make emotional decisions, they don't panic or seek revenge, so they're less likely to commit war crimes or use unnecessary violence.
It's a controversial argument. And it raises a ton of ethical questions. Can we or should we even give machines the power to kill? Even if they could reduce civilian deaths, does that mean it's okay to remove human judgment from the equation?
It's a tough one. And who's responsible when things go wrong? The programmer, the military commander who used the weapon, the company that made it? It's a legal and ethical mess.
These are the big questions at the heart of this debate, and there are no easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to have right now as this technology keeps advancing so quickly.
Okay, so from the battlefield to the hospital bed, let's look at another area where AI is making a big impact: healthcare.
The potential for AI in healthcare is huge. We're talking faster and more accurate diagnoses, personalized treatments based on your genes, even discovering new drugs and therapies using AI simulations.
That sounds like a medical revolution. Imagine a world where AI can find diseases, early predict health risks, and create the best treatments.
It's definitely exciting, but just like any powerful technology, AI in healthcare has its own risks and challenges.
Yeah, I've read some scary stories about mistakes in AI diagnostic systems, leading to wrong diagnoses and even patients getting hurt. And there are concerns about bias in algorithms, which could lead to differences in the quality of care people receive.
Those are valid concerns. We have to be careful that AI systems don't continue or even make worse existing biases in healthcare, whether it's based on race, socioeconomic status, or other factors. We need rigorous testing, validation, and constant monitoring to make sure these systems are safe, effective, and fair.
And there's the issue of trust. How much should we trust AI with our health? Even if these systems are proven to be better than human doctors in some areas. It's a personal question with no easy answer.
And what about the relationship between doctors and patients?
Hmm.
Will these AI systems make that relationship better by giving doctors more information, or will they create a distance where patients feel like they're talking to a machine, not a person?
It's a fascinating and complex area with a lot of potential benefits and risks. As AI becomes more common in healthcare systems globally, these are the kinds of questions that patients, doctors, and policymakers will need to think about.
And let's not forget how AI is affecting the workforce in healthcare and other fields.
Oh yeah, here come the robots to take our jobs. It's a fear we've had for decades. And with AI advancing so rapidly, it seems more relevant than ever.
McKinsey Global Institute predicts that millions of jobs will be lost to automation. And it's not just manual labor or repetitive tasks that are at risk. We're seeing AI moving into jobs that we used to think were safe, like accounting law, even surgery.
It's a little scary, but I've also heard that AI won't just eliminate jobs, it will create new ones too. Jobs we can't even imagine yet.
That's definitely possible. Just like the internet created a whole new set of jobs that didn't exist before, AI could do the same. The challenge is figuring out what those future jobs will be and making sure people have the skills they need to succeed. So how do we prepare for this uncertain future? Is it all about retraining and learning new skills? Or do we need to think about bigger societal changes? One idea that's been getting attention is universal basic income, or UBI. It's a guaranteed income for everyone, whether they have a job or not. People who support it say UBI could act as a safety net for those who lose their jobs because of automation. And it could free people up to do creative things or work that helps society, even if that work doesn't make a lot of money.
UBI is an interesting idea, but it's also very controversial. People who don't like it say it would be too expensive, discourage people from working, and maybe even create a class of people who depend on the government.
It's a debate that will probably get more intense as AI changes the workforce. And it shows that we need to have a wider conversation about the future of work, about the social contract, and how we ensure economic security and opportunity when technology is changing so rapidly.
It's amazing how AI makes us rethink these basic parts of society. But let's move on from the economic stuff to something a little more mind-blowing. What about AI and creativity? It seems like every day there's a new AI tool that can make art, music, even write stories.
It really is incredible how far we've come with this stuff. Tools like Stable Diffusion are letting anyone with internet access create really realistic images just by typing in a few words, and there are AI music generators that are making original pieces that sound almost exactly like human-made music.
It's exciting, but also a bit freaky. It's like, on one hand, it makes creativity more accessible to everyone, but then on the other hand, it raises some tough questions about authorship, copyright, and even what it means to be creative.
And we're already seeing these questions pop up in legal battles like Getty Images suing Stable Diffusion for copyright infringement. They're saying that AI-generated art is basically copying from the work of tons of human artists whose styles and techniques are being imitated by these algorithms.
That's a big case that could change the future of AI and creative industries. And it gets to the core of a really philosophical question. Can AI actually be creative? Or is it just a really good copycat spinning back what it's learned from all the human-made stuff it's been trained on?
That's a question that's been bugging philosophers and artists since AI began. Some say that real creativity needs consciousness, self-awareness, and an understanding of the emotions and culture behind art, things that machines, at least right now, don't have.
But then some people say that even human creativity is often about borrowing, remixing, and building on existing ideas. So is AI really doing anything that different? Or is it just another tool in the ever-changing world of human expression?
It's a debate that probably won't end anytime soon, but it's an important one to have as AI gets more and more involved in our creative endeavors.
So we've talked about a lot today. The potential problems with AI bias, the mind-boggling possibilities of AGI, the ethical dilemmas of autonomous weapons, the power of AI in healthcare, and the worries and opportunities AI brings for the future of work. We even touched on those philosophical questions about creativity and consciousness that AI raises.
The main thing to remember here is that AI isn't just some abstract technology happening in a lab somewhere. It's already changing our world in big ways, and its impact is only going to get bigger in the future.
And these debates we've been talking about aren't just theoretical. They have real consequences affecting the laws we make, the technologies we develop, and the very structure of our society.
So where do you, our listeners, stand on these crucial issues? What are your hopes and fears about the future of AI? We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments.
We believe that the best way to handle this complex and often ethically challenging world of AI is through open and honest discussion. By sharing our perspectives, listening to different viewpoints, and questioning our own assumptions, we can work together to create a future where AI is used for good.
The future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're all building together.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into AI debates. We hope this has made you curious and encourage you to join this important conversation. Remember to subscribe to AI for the People for more on AI's ethical maze, and let us know where you stand on AI ethics.